Chilly finish tonight, mid-30s. Just a couple showers around in the evening, but most of it should remain dry. Only the mid and upper 40s again on Tuesday afternoon. That's going to be one of our coolest highs going forward. Just don't expect a huge warm-up. Mostly cloudy skies, better chances of afternoon showers. Wednesday looks dry with a lot of sunshine. We'll get to the mid-50s, which will probably be our warmest number. And then Thursday, we start trending backwards with rain, especially south on Thursday. I'm Local 4 meteorologist Ben Brook.
Yesterday, 3 tackles and a sack.
It's time for Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Now here's the voice of the Detroit Lions, Dan Miller.
Hey, what's up? Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Lions Review. Lions coming off a win yesterday over the Atlanta Falcons, now looking ahead to a game next Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts, which, of course, you will hear right here on Lions Radio. It was a win, but, man, there were a lot of layers to this thing and a lot of twists and turns that we will unpack tonight. Michael Hara from DetroitLions.com alongside. Michael, your one enduring memory from that game will be what?
Wow, I don't think I have one, but I think it's Matt Prater making the kick, just the way then running off.
A 48-yard extra
48
point.
extra points.
I mean, there was just so many crazy things in that game, you know, probably from the point of Atlanta being in position to just run out the clock and kick a field goal. Why they ran the ball, I have no idea. Why they risked. Gurley had fumbled on the play before.
Right.
Grabbed it back. All they had to do was take a snap, take a knee, run the clock down. Take a snap, take a knee, run the clock down to about 3 seconds, and then they could have called timeout and kicked a field goal. And instead, inexplicably, they hand it off. Inexplicably, Todd Gurley goes in for the touchdown, despite realizing at the half-yard line that he shouldn't go in for the touchdown, but his momentum took him in. Just a parade of errors there by Atlanta that put the Lions in a position to have a chance to win.
And I think it was Will Harris, wasn't it, around the 2, 3, 4 yard line, who gave him a shove and kind of assisted him going into the end zone.
He kind of, I don't know if he assisted. I think he was trying to make him think, I'm trying to tackle you, because you could tell by his reaction right away that he knew that Gurley didn't want to score, but he wanted him to score, and that you could tell by his reaction. So it was like, you know, I guess as a defense, you have to kind of play along a little bit to get them to offer some resistance, and maybe that helped along, because maybe if Gurley looks up at the 5-yard line, and I think right around the 4 is where Harris grabbed him, you know, if he looks up and Harris is just doing this, hands up, you know, don't do anything, Gurley may realize at the 5-yard line, whoa, he's not even trying to tackle me. I don't want to score. So assuming that Harris knew exactly what he was doing, credit Will, because he played it well.
Yeah, I played well like you did.
And Mike
I
just
replayed it. It looked like he extended his arms and gave not a furious shove, but just sort of a. I'm demonstrating here for myself at home.
Yeah,
but that's the way I thought. And again, it didn't end there though. Why kick the ball into the end zone on the kickoff and take no time off the clock?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess
but
the option in there is that you give the ball to Jamal Agnew. So yeah, I know kickoffs are. I don't know. It seems to me that a lot of coaches don't want to do that. You're talking about a guy who was an All-Pro 3 years ago, so I don't know. I make them go 75 yards in a minute 4, no timeouts, and the fact is that the Lions kind of put themselves in a tough position. You know, TJ made a mistake. He'll be the first one to tell you that by not getting out of bounds out the right sideline. Now, obviously, he kept his head in the game, and he ultimately scored the touchdown later on, but that cost him a good 15, 18 seconds probably at that point with him not getting out of bounds.
Yeah, and you could see Matthew Stafford kind of shaking his head too, going back to the because they practiced.
Fire coming out of his eyes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you what, there's something else coming out of his eyes when he threw that winning touchdown pass to him.
Well,
even the referees got it wrong.
There was a couple before that, Mike.
Yeah.
There was the chunk play to Danny Amendola,
yep,
which they had to have. And then the chunk play down to Kenny Golladay, which, as we'll talk to Matthew Stafford about a little bit later, set off a whole bunch of unknowns like, okay, did he catch it? Did he not catch it? Do we have to spike it? Do we not have to spike it? What's going on here? Matthew will tell you later. He thought there was a penalty. It was just this crazy series of events, but the clock's running, so they got to get down there and spike it. And then they're going to spike it. There's an Atlanta player offsides. Matthew looks down, and Kerryon Johnson's laying at his feet. He has no idea what's going on, and then Kerryon has just been shoved from behind by a Falcon. But it all worked out. But you had a next play, you had a penalty, you had a review, then you had another penalty, and it was crazy. And you were just waiting for something to go wrong where the official was going to come out and say, game over, 10-second runoff, Lions lose.
Well, one thing I didn't get too, Kenny catches the ball, I think, at the 8-yard line, and they spot it at the 11. Figure that one out.
See, I kind of think that they completely botched the placement of the ball. He definitely had it at the 8, but I almost think that if you're down that far, a couple extra yards isn't the worst thing in the world to open up the field a little bit. Because if you noticed, Matthew needed some room to move around down there. And on that play, he bought some time. I almost think you don't mind having, if it's one play to score, I think the difference between 8 and 11 yards might open up that field a little bit for you.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but I agree with you. I really do. That's a great point. A great point by you. But, look, we've seen this with Matthew Stafford for so long, and I asked Matt Patricia about this at his presser today, his Zoom presser. There's no panic when the guys look at him like they expect to score. It's almost methodical, high-speed, methodical approach to it. There's
Mike froze on us again a little bit there. So we'll wait for Mike to come back. But no, it was if you were following along at home, if you were listening to Mike, we lost you there. You froze for a second, but you were talking about Stafford and their faith in him.
Their faith, they expect that to work. There's no panic. There's no what do we do? There's no chaos. It's so orderly. It's almost, like I said, methodically high speed.
Yeah, and let's a full accounting of this year is that he did that against Chicago too. Just DeAndre dropped the ball. I mean, he had a drive to win the game against Chicago in the final minutes that should have gotten it done, and they never should have blown a 17-point lead. Different story, different time. But that was another drive where he took them down and put them in position to win a game, and this time they were able to do it. But what a final play! And if you go back, and I've watched that play a bunch of times, the pump fake by Matthew, which he'll talk about coming up in just a little bit, there's so much momentum because he was going to cut the ball loose, and he had a defender and Terrell Crosby at his feet. He was going to cut it loose there. It's like the momentum almost sent him into a tuck roll. And then he had to kind of regather himself, took a couple steps up, boom, TJ comes open and just threw a dart.
I understand that play was so impressive. It's seen so many times on television that I'm not going to say it. That unknown pitcher from the Los Angeles Dodgers said, "Hey, I know Matthew Stafford. We grew up together." Clayton Kershaw said that.
Well,
okay, I had to.
Hey, listen.
I've been working on it all day.
If doesn't get worked into a broadcast, then there's something wrong with it. But it was fun, And look, that winning is fun, and you can poo-poo it and say it was the Falcons and they're 1-5, whatever. You can only beat the team that's in front of you. You can only win one game on a given Sunday. And then you load up and you try to get better, and you come back this week and you play a Colts team, which is much better, and you're going to have to play a lot better to have a chance to win that game. And look, there's some things happening. I still think this offense needs to improve. This offense has got to get better. They had opportunities to score more points in this game. Didn't do it. I still think there's a lot of productivity to be found in this offense. The defense, look, that was Todd Gurley yesterday, and the fifth leading rusher in the league the week before against Jacksonville, who had another big game yesterday. This run defense through the last couple of weeks has gotten a lot better, and that seems to have keyed everything else in their defense to improve as well.
Yeah, 44 yards rushing against Jacksonville last week, and then was it 63 or whatever?
Like 66, something like that.
66 was it? Okay, that's 110 yards in 2 games. That's 55 a game. That'll get you somewhere. I still think they could use a little more of a pass rush, but I think everybody could use more pass rush.
Yeah. I wonder if they aren't looking for maybe something like that at the trade deadline. I mean, I wonder if they're not looking to maybe beef up a little bit if they can find a veteran pass rusher. I heard today maybe Dallas is making Everson Griffin available. I mean, had a sack yesterday against Washington. He's got $3 million left on his contract. Guy that, it's always a question of whether or not you feel like he fits into your scheme. But I know this, in years past, he's a guy that can get after the quarterback, and that's what they're looking for. Somebody that can, play on the edge and make a play. And, Romeo Okwara stepped up. He's doing some things better. Had 2 sacks yesterday, sacked fumble yesterday. Trey Flowers is just, he's a stat stuffer. He puts a check in every column. I mean, yesterday he had a pass defense on his own blitz, which was a huge one. And, he's just doing a great job, but they need more, and they need to finish more at the quarterback as well.
Yeah, one thing about Trey Flowers, a 265-pound defensive end dropping into coverage like an oversized safety, supersized safety. I mean, what a play! And if he doesn't get that ball, he doesn't deflect it. Ito Smith is gone to the end zone. No doubt.
And it's a first down. It's a problem. Whatever it is, if he doesn't get there, they're not. Atlanta's scoring again, and it's probably a different story at that point. So there was a lot going on, but Trey Flowers, right place, right time, athletic play by him to disengage and find a way to jump up and just bat that away, and that allowed the Lions to take over on downs. All right, this chat with Mike O'Hara brought to you by Comerica Bank. Experience full-service banking at Comerica Bank. Learn more at Comerica.com. We will take a break, come right back. When we do, you will hear from the head coach, Matt Patricia. Will talk about this game, the crazy ending, the offense, the defense, the special teams, which were key as well. All that coming up as we look back on their victory yesterday over Atlanta. This is Lions Review. Glad you're with us. Much more after this.
to more Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
Here we go. This is it. The money play. This is it. Let's see what the Lions dial up. 2 seconds to go. From the Falcon 11-yard line, down by 6. Final play of the game. Stafford empty out of the gun. He's got it back. Looks, pumps once, steps up, looks, throws, end zone.
Yes!
Carp!
Yes!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! TJ Hawkinson!
Yes!
They did it! They tied it! They're an extra point away from winning this game! Oh, baby, how big is that?
Yes,
How
that's huge.
big is that? Matthew Stafford magic.
And give the big fella some love up front because they gave Matthew the time that he needed to scan the field, to pump it, to bring it back down, to step up and to find TJ Hawkinson coming across the end zone. Awesome play by the Detroit Lions.
Extra point away
Yes.
from winning it.
Yes.
At that point, our announcers did not know that extra point would be from 48 yards. One pair of undergarments later, the 48-yard extra points sailed through the uprights. Man, I don't want to sweat through too many 48-yard extra points anymore. But, you're going to hear Coach talk about that play in just a second. But, man, that was a designed play, which became a freelance play. And sometimes you just got to make something up. And they did that in that moment.
Well, that's why they practice, that's why they've been good at it for as long as they've been good at it, because Matthew Stafford is a master at it. That's his 30th come from behind victory in overtime or regulation time. And there's a reason he does that. Those guys believe in him and they practice it and they execute it.
Yeah, and he really does love it. I mean, he says it, and he means it. All right, let me get to our chat here with head coach Matt Patricia, brought to you by MGM Grand, the king of sportsbooks. We talked today about a situation against the Falcons with a lot of twists and turns, maybe more than he'd seen in most of the games, and he's seen a lot of them.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was, just full 60 minutes. Absolutely needed all of it. And I think our guys did a great job of just fighting through every single play and just trying to go out and execute every single chance they had to out on the field, no matter what the situation was, and really in all three phases. So just great team effort all the way across the board.
To that point, guys staying in the game, there's a mindset at one point in that game where you're thinking, okay, we need field goal blocker. We need this guy to shank this thing, because it felt like it was completely for them to take. But your guys stayed in the moment, the offense on the sidelines, knowing they may have to come back out, which they ultimately did, and the guys on the field knowing if, hey, they want to try to score, let's let them score. There was a lot that you had to process there.
Yeah, there really was. And I thought the players did a great job of just staying in the moment and just worrying about what they could control. And that was whatever play was going to happen on the field, or whatever play was going to happen on the, whether it was the offense going on the play next or the special teams. I think everyone was just dialed into the different scenarios that could come up. And when they did, I thought those guys were prepared and ready to go.
Let's start on the defense. Another real nice day against the run. And basically everything kind of keys off that. You've been able to stack these things now. What are you seeing in terms of the run defense?
Yeah, I think the guys have done a great job here the last couple of weeks of just understanding the runs that we had to face and how we were going to play them, and doing a great job with the run fits off of it. And I thought, overall 2 weeks here, some really good technique and fundamentals, and we just got to keep that going from that standpoint. We certainly know as the season goes, some of that can get a little bit lax, and you only have so many days here in pads to improve. But I thought over the last couple of weeks, I think our guys have done a great job.
Needed some big plays in the fourth quarter from that defense. Let me just throw a couple at you. Let's start with the sack fumble by Romeo, the job that he did to get in there, knock that ball away, bring momentum back in your direction.
Yeah, unbelievable job, I thought, by the defense, just going out there really off of a sudden changed look and really going out there with the intention of getting the ball back as soon as they could to the offense. I think Romeo did a great job off the edge. Certainly an element of really good coverage behind it, to make the quarterback hold it. But, great job of him of attacking the ball in the pocket and getting that turnover in that situation.
Zone blitz, you got Trey dropping in coverage, knocks the pass away on fourth down. That's a big time play. If he doesn't get a hand on that, that might fall right in 25's hands, and he might have been getting that first down.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a tremendous play and a got to have it situation. Actually, Julio Jones on that play is actually in great position to pick Trey Flowers legally. And, and Trey just did an unbelievable job of getting through that, fighting through that, knowing the situation, and just using every ounce of his reach to be able to get that ball. It was pretty great.
Hey, pressure improved as well. And credit to Matt Ryan. He kind of adapted early and started getting rid of the ball quicker. But overall, you're seeing more pressure from your guys up front.
Yeah, I think those guys are doing a good job and just getting a little bit more familiar with each other each and every single week. A lot of times in the pass rush game, it's about playing or working off of the guy next to you and naturally falling into some of those pass rush lanes and some of those games that we have up there, which I think those guys have done a good job of. But certainly the coverage behind it, has really helped that too. We've settled some things down back there that I thought's been great.
The final drive for the offense, we talked about it. Those guys had to get in their mind that they're going back on the field 75 yards away, 64 seconds. I spoke to TJ. I know he wishes he'd have gotten out of bounds on that one play, but just your impressions in watching that drive back and the way your guys executed to score the winning touchdown going down the field.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought everyone just kept a very calm head and stayed in the moment and just understood what the play was and what the distance was we needed to get. And guys ran great routes. They got open. They found space. I thought Matthew Stafford did a great job in the pocket, really had to move and extend some of those plays. And he's obviously got a great arm, great strength, great accuracy, and was able to get that thing downfield. And just the overall command I thought he showed of hustling and getting the ball placed and be able to, kill it and get to the next play. And just everybody being on the same page was really great.
How about that final play? Everybody's got to do their job. From the protection, giving room to Matthew to step up. It becomes, in essence, a scramble drill. Guys are moving around, trying to find some open space, and they do. I mean, if one guy doesn't do his job on that play, you're probably walking off the field with a different feeling.
Yeah, no doubt. And really everybody just, really doing their job and then some, because the play did get extended. It did go a little bit longer than kind of what the normal design is. And I thought everyone just staying focused all the way through it. Certainly TJ finding space and, Matthew kind of finding that alley to step up into and then slide over to his left, I thought was, exactly what we needed. And, just fortunate it worked out in our favor.
Knowing Matt Prater, he's going to be thinking about the one that he didn't make. But a 48-yard extra point in a situation like that is pretty big-time stuff, and coming off having made 2 from 50-plus before that.
Yeah, no doubt. Unbelievable job by him. We certainly made it difficult on him, and, we didn't help him out at all in that situation. But, in typical Matt Prater fashion, he comes through strong and he's consistent, and, he nailed it. It was great.
Coverage terrific, too, in this game. You had a great job with Jack and the punt unit out there, and then your kickoff unit. They had a number of returns, but your guys were right there. Your field position that you allowed them off of kickoffs in a tight game was a big key.
Yeah, I think those guys did a great job. And certainly, Jack Fox had another huge day, both punting and kicking off and really just gave us all that energy to go out there and cover under those kicks. So, that unit was one that we needed yesterday. And I thought those guys did a great job with it. And, we just got to keep improving each week.
Hey, final thing, a lot of emotion coming off that win. Enjoy it. But I know you've also told the guys to turn the page. This is a heck of a football team you got coming in on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we want to get home and we want to play our best here at home. And that's something that we got to do. So we just want to turn the page and get going on the Colts. We know they got a little bit of an advantage on us right now. They had the bye week last week, so they're already in front. And we got to get caught up.
All right, there it is, Lions head coach Matt Patricia. Just a quick thought on Fox before we go to break here. He had a 67-yard punt, Mike, and I got about 30 seconds. That thing was rocketed through the end zone. That would have been an 80-yard punt if he'd have had the room.
Oh, absolutely. It really would have. It's still the amazing thing. He had a punt into the end zone and still had a net of higher than 50 yards, I think it was.
Crazy. You don't get that too often. All right, we'll take a break, come right back. Our chat with Matthew Stafford coming up the other side. We'll have Mike O'Hara more with him as well, and we'll look ahead to the game of the Colts. It's going to be a tough one. They're playing some pretty good football coming off their bye as well. Stick with us. Be right back.
News, I'm Rich Dennison. The Senate tonight confirming Judge Amy Coney Barrett to become the newest Associate Justice on the Supreme Court. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer criticizing Republicans for forcing the confirmation through on the eve of a presidential election.
Monday, October 26, 2020, will go down as one of the darkest days in the 231-year history of the United States Senate.
A swearing-in ceremony is about to get underway at the White House. A Boston man facing charges after police say he was seen on video lighting fire to an election drop box last night.
The Massachusetts Secretary of State's office says of the 122 ballots inside, 87 were still able to be processed. Residents whose ballots were destroyed can either be sent new ones to fill out or they can choose to vote in person between now and Election Day.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America is listening to Fox News.
We have reports of an accident on the right shoulder, eastbound I-94 at the Lodge Freeway. You may find a slight delay there. As a result, eastbound 8 Mile remains closed down for some road work going on between John R. and I-75. Try the eastbound 8 Mile Service Drive as your main alternate. There's construction working in Hazel Park, which has closed 9 Mile in both directions over I-75. Try using John R. as your main alternate. I'm Pete Spivak, WJR, Traffic and Weather First.
Chilly finish tonight, mid-30s. Just a couple showers around in the evening, but most of it should remain dry. Only the mid and upper 40s again on Tuesday afternoon. That's going to be one of our coolest highs going forward. Just don't expect a huge warm-up. Mostly cloudy skies, better chances of afternoon showers. Wednesday looks dry with a lot of sunshine. We'll get to the mid-50s, which will probably be our warmest number. And then Thursday, we start trending backwards with rain, especially south on Thursday. I'm Local 4 meteorologist Ben Bailey.
back to more Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
Here we go. 48-yard extra point. Hash mark left side to secure the win for the Lions. Ulbach to snap. There it is. Fox the hold. Kick away. It is up. It is good. It is good. We got another flag down. What is it? We got a flag down. What is it? Is this game over or not?
Illegal formation. Defense.
That's it. This is over. Pack it up, boys, and come home. Come home with your second straight win. Come home with a last-second victory over the Falcons. Come home at 3-3. That is big-time stuff by the Detroit Lions, lads. Down, but not out, and winners today. How about that? Can you dig that? Bang! Final score, Lions 23, Falcons 22.
And that's how it ended. I might have been a little excited.
Why not?
It was fun, man. It was fun. Listen, I got no guardrails. Just have fun with it. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. It's if you know how hard those guys fight, and regardless of the results, those 53 guys that are in uniform, or 55 or whatever it is today, they work their backsides off, and they fight and they scratch and they claw for everything. And I respect the hell out of that. And I know what it means to those guys. I feel what it means to those guys. And I know what it means to those coaches who put in 100-hour weeks. You don't have to think they're good. You don't have to think they should stay. You don't have to, whatever you want to think. If people want to criticize a win like that. But I think there's a lot of people out there that just love this team and want to see this team do well. And yes, they might get frustrated every once in a while with this team, but when all is said and done and the chips are on the table, they want to see this team win. And that's you feel that, you see that. And when you have a game like that yesterday, you just wrapped up in it.
You know, Dan, he made a good point. And the thing about it is, just to add to it a little bit, is that they do the same thing if they lose. If they're 0-5 right now or 0-6 instead of 3-3, practice on Wednesday be just the same as it was if they were 6-0 or 3-3 or 0-6. And it's a hard game. It really is. It's a hard game from hard men. And it's not played by the likes of me. Let's put it that way.
No, and you get 16 of them.
Yep,
and,
that's it.
You know, they mean everything to these guys. It's how they, you know, you go to work and judge yourself somehow in your profession, whatever it might be. This is how they judge themselves professionally. You know, outside of maybe their religion and their family, this is the next thing on the list for them. This is everything that's important in the world to them. And you know what? If you can't wrap yourself up in a game and enjoy it and ride the highs and lows, then I don't really know what you're doing it for. And that's, you know, I have a ball doing what I do. And some Sundays are better than others, but I'm going to enjoy the heck out of the ones that are good. And that was a good one.
Well, to me, going to the NFL games on Sunday to me is like going to 16 NASCAR Daytona 500s. They go like heck for 500 miles or whatever it is. It's 3 hours here, crash, burn, get up, repaint it, put it back together, come back the next week, do the same thing, go as fast and hard as they can, as long as they can, come back the next week, and they do that for 16 weeks. And if they're the playoffs, 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 4 more. And you know what else is impressive to me? They're doing it just as hard in this COVID pandemic, just as hard if there's nobody in the stands, 550 in the stands, 14,000 in the stands. They play just as hard. They play for each other.
No, I agree. You touched on something there that I was kind of thinking about today. Probably made a difference in that game yesterday that there was no fans in the stands. Might have even made a big difference. And I didn't ask Matthew Stafford about that. Shame on me. But probably made a big difference that there was no fans there and they didn't have to deal with 65,000 people making noise, rooting against them, making it difficult to communicate on that final drive.
Yeah, that could be. I never thought about that, but it's certainly a point, something to consider. I know the final drive against Arizona, there was it started at the 9-yard line. and it was just surgical to set up the winning field goal on the last play of the game, and nobody in the stands. Maybe a couple of hundred, I think.
I think it's got to make it easier for a visiting team to operate. I mean, I just don't see how the answer could be no when you're looking at something like that. That it doesn't make it easier on you when you don't have to deal with all that noise and trying to communicate in a situation where nobody can hear anything you're saying. I mean, look, you'd rather be at Ford Field if the opposition's driving on you late in the game. There's no doubt about that. If Ford Field is packed and rocking like it can.
Well, Matthew said last week when I think they had 15 or 14,000 at Jacksonville, he said he liked a little bit of juice. He said it was good.
Yeah.
So I think nothing phases him, but the average guy, you could be exactly right there.
Yeah, I think in end game situations in particular, I think on the whole, they do enjoy having fans there because I think it gives them just that. You said it, the juice, the feeling, and there's even when you're in an away stadium, you love to be able to hush that crowd. But late game, when you got 64 seconds and 75 yards to go, keep it down. Let's just you want it so that you can hear each other talking, and boy, they could in this game, and they got it done. And they were led by Matthew Stafford. We had a chance to chat with him. Our talk is brought to you by Henry Ford Health System, the official healthcare provider of the Detroit Lions. I just asked him when he sat back and thought about this one, what jumped out? Because I said, that was one where you walked away and just thought, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, it was crazy. I felt like we were playing pretty good. We just didn't have a lot of points to show for it. Our defense played great. But when they got that first down, with under 2 minutes left, I figured they would just kneel on it a couple times and we would have no shot at it. And obviously our defense did a great job, let Gurley score, and then gave us a chance. And once he scored, I had a good feeling. I don't know why, but I just did. And we were able to execute well enough to go down and win. But it was back and forth crazy. Clean game, just crazy down to the wire, though.
So in some ways, you kind of just mentally check out. You're thinking, my job is done here. There's not much I can do. It's going to come down to a field goal for them. Then you get the opportunity, 64 seconds, 75 yards. You're running on the field. You must have felt like we got new life here.
Yeah, I mean, I grabbed my helmet. When they got that last first down, I grabbed my helmet and was like, well, it's going to be a kick. I figured the game was over from my standpoint. And then when he scored, I was pumped. I had a chance at least. I know we're down, but at least I had a chance to go out there and make a difference in the game. And, we didn't get out of bounds on the second ball that I threw to Hawk, that we lost some time on there. So then we were really behind the clock. But our guys did an awesome job at executing. Every time we caught a ball, we just handed it to the center, who handed it to the official. We spiked it. Our operation was really clean, and that's what gave us a chance at the end.
You make it sound easy, but you had the chunk to Danny, and then you get the chunk to Galladay. And at that point, there's a lot going on because you had to be thinking, did he catch it? Did he not catch it? I got to get down there and spike it if he did catch it. Why is Kerryon laying by my foot? What is going on here?
It was a lot of those thoughts for sure. I got the chunk to Kenny, but I thought he got PI. I thought there was pass interference. I thought the safety was there early. I didn't even think he caught it. So I was like, perfect. We're going to have whatever time was left at that point, probably 12 or so seconds. So I was like, we'll be down there first and goal from whatever. Then Kenny got up like he caught it. So now I'm sprinting down there to try and go spike it. And then as I spike it, I kind of look down and I see Kerryon on the ground next to me. And I'm like, we can't even keep our feet to try and spike it to win the game. What happened? And he got run over. And then it was just a bunch of rules that people smarter than me can figure out. All I know is that I had a chance to spike it, stop the clock, and then one last play, and it worked out.
On the final play, you're back, pump fake. Did your foot get clipped at that second? Because your pump fake looked like it almost turned into a tuck roll.
Yeah, I was. It wasn't like a planned pump. I was about to release the ball, and the last second pulled it back in. 45 for them did a really nice job of kind of playing through Jesse and getting in the window for Hawk. And so I was ready to cut it loose and pulled it back, and then was able to scramble around, buy some time, and Hawk did a great job working the front end line and made a good catch.
So you do get the win, and that's incredible. And it had to be a terrific locker room and then a really nice flight home. Indianapolis still gets your attention really quickly. This is a terrific defense you got coming in, Matthew, and you want to keep this thing going.
No question. Their defense is explosive. I mean, you look, their defensive line is incredible. They've got guys at every level of the defense making plays. Leonard's a great player, obviously. Xavier Rhodes, some of those guys. I mean, it's a complete defense, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. Obviously, on the other side of the ball, Phillips, a veteran quarterback that's had a lot of success in this league too. So this team gets our attention quick. We're glad to be back home and a chance to get a third in a row, which would be awesome for us.
All right, there it is. Matthew Stafford talking about the win over the Falcons and that final drive. And I had fun talking. Look, it's always fun when you win because you can laugh about things, but he was cracking me up on that pump fake because if you do go back and look at that play, as I alluded to earlier, Dante Fowler kind of comes across. Terrell Crosby's blocking him, and it looked almost like somebody might have gotten a piece of Matthew's leg at the precise time that he's about to cut loose that throw, which he had to kind of, and it's like that superhero, what is it, the Amazing Stretchy Man or whoever, the guy, it's like his arm stretches about 4 yards out and holds onto the ball and comes back. It looks like they're about to have the tuck rule or something, but he held onto it, reloaded, took a couple of steps up, and then just, fired its sidearm into Hawk for the touchdown. But it was everything, as we said with the head coach, had to go right on that play, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Matthew had as much retelling it as he did going through it. I mean, it's an enjoyable moment, an enjoyable process all the way around.
Yeah. And it's, it's amazing when you talk to quarterbacks, coaches, players, their recall of games and moments and plays. It's like they say Jack Nicklaus can recall any golf shot that he has hit in any tournament in his career. And football players and coaches and you go back to a game, they know exactly what you're talking about, and they can cite, psalm and verse what happened on that play.
And one other thing, Dan, we both covered a lot of games in other sports too, but I don't think, at least in team sports anyway, for just middle of the season win, there's nothing better than winning a pro football game on the road. Now, I'm not talking about playoff clincher or anything like that, but just week 7, week 9, winning on the road. There's nothing like walking off the field with that win, taking the bus to the airport, coming home. It's just a great, great feeling.
It is. And now they'll try to get that feeling at home this week coming up against the Colts. We'll talk about that, get Mike's call of the game and more when we return right here on Lions Review. Stick with us.
to more Lions Review. Presented by MGM Grand Detroit, the king of sportsbooks. Here's Dan Miller.
Falcons are going to go for it. They've got the offense on the field. It is 4th and 5 for Atlanta, leading by 1 with 12:10 to go in the game. Ryan's going to work out of the gun. They scrimmage from the 13-yard line of Detroit. They need the 8th. Ryan takes the snap. Blitz comes. Ryan back. Throws. It is knocked away. Incomplete. Trey Flowers got a hand on it, and the Lions take over on downs. A big-time defensive stand by the Lions right there. They've got it back, trailing 14-13 here in the 4th.
Call of the game sponsored by Ring Central, official partner of the Detroit Lions. Ring Central message, video, phone together. Mike, that sounded suspiciously like your call of the game.
Yeah, and listen, this is a guy who really prepares well, prepares hard, and competes hard. I just looked at his combine results. He's built physically for that play. 6'2", 6'3". He's got 34-inch arm length, 84-inch wingspan, 10-inch hands, 36-inch vertical jump. Put it all together with the desire, the ability, the study, the instincts. Bingo. That's how you make a big play.
Well, that's why they dropped him back in coverage, too, because they knew he could handle it. He had the athleticism, and he needed every bit of it to stop that play. Which reminds me, just a note to people out there, go back and look at the throw to Galladay, and look where at the window Stafford had to fit that into, because there's a linebacker between Galladay and Stafford that's deep in the pattern, had deep middle coverage, and extended every inch he had to try to knock that away, and probably got within about 6-8 inches of actually knocking that ball away before it got to Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, and Stafford talked about after the game putting it over the linebacker and in front of the other guy, and he talked about how deep they dropped all game because they didn't want to get anybody behind him. But how does he process all that in a second and a half? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember discussing with Jim Schwartz a long time ago about Stafford, and he said to me that Stafford, I believe that he said there's freakish stuff about him, like genius stuff. He was talking about Stafford, just the way he processes things and can see things. I mean, even going back to the 12 men on the field. I mean, he's handing off with one hand and pointing at their bench at the other to say that he did that. So, there's some heads up stuff that happens with him, and that's why he's the type player he is, because he's got such great field awareness. Michael, we're out of here. We will reconvene next week after they play the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be a heck of a game at Ford Field. It's going to be a tough game, so we shall see what happens. Good stuff, my friend. We'll look for you all week long on DetroitLions.com. Everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. We'll look forward to chatting with you again next week. Good night.